Hello friends, today we are going to study about another interesting topic on consignment accounts. See, we can feel or see the change in the accounting aspect or the business enterprises that are going about today. Now, apart from marketing their goods directly, they're also sending their goods through agents, all the market agents they have today. Now, when organizations do not have a reach for all kind of markets or they do not have sufficient knowledge about certain markets, what are they going to do? They're going to appoint different kind of agents who know very well or who have better knowledge of the local markets for marketing their products. Such an arrangement of sending goods to agents or they're opting for further sale by the agents in different kinds of predefined markets is called as consignment. See, here you can also know that the agent will be compensating with commission for marketing the goods on his behalf of his principal. Okay, now what are we going to study about this consignment? You can see here introduction. We're going to study about the meaning, consignor, consignee, goods, and all this. Now you can see the meaning very clearly given here. Consignment means sending of goods by one merchant to the agent for sale in which the sole risk remains with the sender. Here another aspect, this agent will sell the goods for him and the agent will receive a commission in return for whatever has been given. Or we can also say it as consignment is an agreement wherein under a manufacturer or wholesaler send goods to the agent for the purpose of the sale on his behalf and at his own risk on commission basis. Okay, that is what we are speaking here. Now, who are the parties involved? There are very much involved two parties. One is the consignor and the other one is the consignee. Who is this consignor? The owner of the goods who send the goods to the agent for sale is called as the consignor. This consignor is also called as the principal. He is also called as the principal. And the consignee, who's the consignee, is an agent who sells the goods for the consignor. Now, this goods, the goods and he sells the goods and he collects the money from the customers. He will pay this to the consignor or he will pay the consignor the net proceeds. What are these net proceeds? They are nothing but proceeds. What are these proceeds? Proceeds are how much he receives from the sales minus the expenses that he incur in order to make that sale minus commission as per the agreement they are involved in and provide the consignor an account sales showing all the proceeds and expenses. Now, what are the characteristics of a consignment? Or we can also say it as features of consignment. The first one says the relationship is that of a principal and agent. Remember here, friends, here we call the consignor as the principal because even though the sales are not being made by the agent, the entire risk lies with the principal. Agent is a person who just does sales. If in case there is any kind of damage to sales or reduction in sales, no way is the principal involved. Point number two, the consignee sells the goods only for the commission. Okay, he gets a benefit called as commission. Third one, the actual ownership of goods remain with the consignor. The ownership lies with the consignor. As I said you, that is why they are called as principal and agent. He is not transferring the ownership to the agent. Okay, look at the fourth one. Goods sent on consignment are the property of the consignor until the goods are sold. Suppose those goods are sold, I'm just explaining this point. Suppose the goods are sold, the ownership is already transferred. Let's say a very simple example here. Let's say there are two A and B, two persons who are there. A and B are two parties. A sends goods, A is the consignor and B is the consignee. When A sends goods to B, the ownership is not transferred to B. The goods have been just transferred to B. Now, if this B consignee, he sells to someone, then the rights of that property is being sold, or the kind of ownership of that property is being sold. Look at the fifth one. The consignor should include all the unsold goods on consignment in his closing stock. This is the characteristics. Now we have few objectives. What are the objectives of having this particular consignment? First one, it increases the sales by creating a new market for a product. See, in case of expansion of the business, yeah, we have already spoken about different aspects like branch accounts. Remember, friends, suppose if you have to have a different kind of branch in a new locality, you will have to spend a lot of money, wherein you have to have a warehouse, again, a person to take care of the warehouse. All this again adds to your expenses. Yes. Now, suppose you send it through an agent, because expenses have been reduced, but still you're creating a new market for your product. That is first objective. Look at the second one. The to get the advantage of the skill of an agent relating to a particular place. See, suppose you create a new product as well. We always have this kind of things where we buy goods from a selected store or a selected person where we get it. So if he has the skill that he's going to sell good products, obviously he will make a good gain out of it. Yes. The last one, to get the advantage of price differentiation of goods prevailing at different places. What is this price differentiation? This is a very important topic that you would have studied in your marketing. See, price differentiation is nothing but, now for example, you reside in a place called as Malleshwaram. I'm just giving an example. You reside in a place called Malleshwaram. Let's say the cost of flour, or let's say one quantity or 1 kg of a flour cost 80 rupees in Malleshwaram. Let's say the same 80 rupees flour that is costing 80 rupees in Malleshwaram will always be less in Chickpet, or we can also say it as Care Market. The prices will be definitely low when you compare here and there. So that is called as price differentiation. It could be at because of any kind of reasons. Okay, so we will get an advantage of price differentiation by sending goods on consignment. There are few important terms that have used in consignment. We're going to go through this one by one. The first one is pro forma invoice. See, in general, what is an invoice? Invoice is nothing but a statement. Like in general, what we do, suppose you buy goods from someone, you get an invoice for it. Yes. In a similar manner, we have here something called as pro forma invoice. This pro forma invoice is nothing but a statement that is prepared and sent by the consignor to the consignee, where all details of the products have been sent. Like you can see in the next line there, it consists of information relating to the nature, price, quantity, weight, minimum sale price, etc. All this relating to the consignee. It will be sent by the consignor to the consignee. Look at the next very important term that you have to know, commission. As I said you in the earlier, commission is something very important that you need to do or you need to know. See, commission is nothing but the remuneration that is being paid to the consignee by the consignor for the services rendered by the consignee in selling the consigned goods. Now, in generally, we have three types of calculations that is being done. Usually we do it on the sales affected by the consignee. The commission which is received, as I said you, there are three methods we calculate. The first one is it is given on the amount of sales. That is first one, we have one thing called as ordinary commission. What is this ordinary commission? It is nothing but a commission that is being paid, wherein we calculate a percentage of total sales made by the consignee and multiply it. Okay, now moving to the second one, Del Creeder commission. Now you can see what I've given there, given on total sales to make the consignee bear the loss on account of bad debts. See, the commission paid by the consignee, it is responsible for the bad debts incurred out of the credit sales affected by him. In other words, it is the additional commission paid to the consignee to bear the loss of bad debts incurred by him. When Dell credit commission is paid to the consignor need not bear the loss of bad debts arising due to the credit sales made by the consignee. Very simple, students. Now I'm just giving an example to you here. As I gave you an example, A is the consignor, B is the consignee. Now A is sending goods to B. Now what are we speaking about? A is sending goods to B for sales. Now when B makes sales, like there are always certain aspects where people ask for credit. See, as you are a consignee or an agent, there is always a tendency that most of the customers opt for something called as credit sales. So, in order to engage this credit sales, in order to encourage the credit sales, what does the consignor do? He says, for all the credit sales that you make, I give you something called as Del Creator Commission. It is not commission for the credit sales made. It is a commission paid for the collection from the people for whom the credit sales have been made. So if the consignee makes good number of credit sales and he collects the amount and gives back to the consignor, there is no kind of problem. He gets an extra commission for it. Okay, that is called as Del Credo commission. Look at the last kind of commission that we have here. It is overriding commission. What is this overriding commission? It is a commission that is given to make the consignee sell the goods at higher prices. It is paid as per the agreement and on the excess price. And we also say it as if he is doing anything else to make the sales more, he can include any kind of aspects where he can use any kind of hard work introducing the product, or he can do any kind of things to promote the sales of the product. For all this, he receives something called as overriding commission. I think it's clear. Ordinary commission is paid on the amount of sales that is made. Del Credo commission, whenever the credit sales have been made, for the amount of credit sales that has been made and the amount that is being collected by the consignee, an extra commission is paid called Del Credo. We have another one called as overriding commission. Another important overriding commission is for any kind of sales that he makes at higher prices, or he promotes sales at a higher price than specified out to encourage the sales. Now we have the another important point here called as advance amount by consignee. See, sometimes consignor may ask the consignee to pay an advance for the part of the value of goods that has been consigned. The consignee may send this advance in the form of a draft or check or any means that he can take up. If the consignee is not in a position to pay advance money, a bill also may be drawn by the consignee. Now, consignor may discount this bill and get the money. The amount of discount on the bill may be debited to discount account. This advance will be deducted from the sales proceeds while making the final payment by the consignor. So as I said you, it is nothing but because the consignor is sending goods to consignee, he expects some kind of advance that has been made by the agent. That advance amount that he gives before making the sales is called as advance amount by consignee. Another very important topic we have here, consignment expenses. What are these consignment expenses? Remember, the expenses that are involved or incurred by both consignor or consignee for the goods sent on consignment are called as consignment expenses. Or sometimes the consignee may have to incur for some expenses for dispatching or selling the goods, and these expenses can be divided into two very important types: non-recurring or direct expense. Another we have recurring or indirect expense. In case of non-recurring expenses, see, all the expenses incurred till the goods reach the premises of the consignee and the expenses incurred to bring the goods in a saleable condition are treated as direct expenses or non-recurring expenses. These expenses may be incurred by the consignee or by the consigner, depending upon the terms of the agreement between them. As these direct expenses are incurred only once, that is, at the time of sending the goods on consignment, these are called as non-recurring expenses. These expenses increase the value of goods and hence they are added to the cost while determining the value of closing stock. I'm repeating the last sentence that I'm telling you again. Whatever direct expenses that has been incurred, it will be increasing the value of goods, and hence what are we going to do? We are going to add this cost while calculating the value of closing stock. You can read here, or are those expenses which are incurred for receiving the goods, they are paid only once when goods are received. Like, there's a typing mistake, it is carriage inward, freight, unloading and loading charges. We have many more to go ahead with. Look at the next aspect, recurring or indirect expenses. These expenses are those which are paid by the consignee for selling the goods, and they are in recurring nature, like go down rent or shop rent, advertisement, insurance premium, etc. Again, I'm repeating this. All these expenses incurred can be consignor and the consignee. They do not increase the value of goods, hence they are called as indirect expenses. Okay, it could be for storage expense or any other expense that can be incurred. We are moving to some more important terms that has been used. We have your consignment loss. Now, what is this consignment loss that we are speaking about? See, the goods sent by the consigner to the consignee may have or may suffer from two types of important losses. One loss is called as normal loss and the other one is called as abnormal loss. As I said you, when the goods are sent from the consigner, losses may arise during consignment transactions. Such losses affect consigner account and not consignee account. I'm repeating, any kind of losses will affect only consigner account and not the consignee account. So the consigner makes some entries to address the losses. Now moving to the first loss, that is normal loss. What is this normal loss? When goods are lost or damaged due to normally expected but unavoidable cases such as losses due to evaporation, leakage, breakage, dusting, weightement, drying, etc. These losses are called as normal losses. These type of losses cannot be avoided. So such losses are apart from the cost of goods. That is the loss of an account of normal loss. It has been borne by the good unit. Okay. Now, when we are calculating the cost of unsold stock, this normal loss is to be considered. The cost of unsold stock increases the proportionality due to normal loss. The normal loss is not shown in the consignment accounts and there is a need to pass an entry in the books of the accounts. Now, with regards to normal loss, you can see that it is the loss that arises due to nature of goods or type of goods, or this loss cannot be fully checked or not fully controllable. For example, loss of coal due to loading and unloading, or another very important example I can give you here, loss of oil due to evaporation. See, we cannot predict the climate on the way while the goods have been reaching the consignee. Yes. During such times, there is always a tendency that there is a normal loss, or certain times we can also say it as if there are some goods that are breakable in nature. The goods itself manufactured are breakable in nature. For example, you can say take any kind of crockeries or any kind of this glass items. Yeah, there are always a tendency to break. So while you're loading or unload, though you're very careful, there are chances that it might break. Yeah, that is called as normal loss. Next one is something called as abnormal loss. What is this abnormal loss? When loss or damage of goods is caused by unnatural and unexpected reasons, then such loss is treated as abnormal loss. It is unexpected loss and beyond the control of the human beings. Loss of goods due to fire, flood, earthquake, war, theft, accidents, etc. are abnormal losses. Or we can also say it as such losses occur because of bad luck, due to accident, mischief by someone, or some kind of human carelessness. Now, in case of abnormal loss, it is calculated just like the unsold stock on consignment and it has been debited through abnormal or accidental loss account. Now, you can see here one aspect that is there on the screen. It's that loss which arises due to negligence or carelessness. This loss can be fully checked or controlled. So this loss can again be divided into two aspects. One is loss in transit and the other one is loss at consignee's place. The first one where you can see here loss in transit. Remember, loss in transit is nothing but during the transportation. Okay, it is that type of abnormal loss which arises when the goods are on the way from consignor to the consignee. For example, goods may be damaged in transit due to accidents. That is loss in transit. Now, like the next one, loss at consignee's place. It is that type of abnormal loss which occurs after reaching the goods to the consignee. For example, you can say goods may be destroyed by fire in his rest or in his godown. That is called as loss at consignee's place. Now, with regards to the accounting treatment, what are we going to do? Very simple, friends. One is in the books of the consignor and the other one is in the books of the consignee. This diagram actually gives you a clear-cut information about the consignor, who's the owner of the goods, sends the goods to the consignee. What does consignee do? He takes the net proceeds plus account sales. He deducts all kind of his personal expenses and sends it back to the owner. Now here you can see the consignee, the owner of the goods. In his books, we will have to prepare only three accounts. One is consignment account, goods sent on consignment account and consignee account. In case of the consignee's books, we will have to prepare only one account called as consignor accounts. Thank you, friends. Here we are finishing with the first part of the theoretical part on consignment. In the further slides, we are going to study about the different aspects that we are coming across on with regards to the consignment, wherein we will start with the calculation of commission, then calculation of closing stock, and then we will slowly go ahead with the normal loss, abnormal loss, and then come back to this particular aspects regarding consignment account, goods sent on consignment account, consignee account, and consignor account in the books of the consignee. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day.